67%. That's the number Johns Hopkins School of Medicine didn't want you to know. In 2022, researchers in Baltimore tracked 1,200 men between 45 and 60 years old for 18 months. The goal? To understand why morning erections simply disappear. And what they discovered was shocking. 67% of these men had already completely lost consistent morning erections. We're not talking about an occasional drop. We're talking about total absence. But here's what they don't tell you. This isn't normal aging. It's a marker of silent vascular failure. And when they investigated deeper, they found 5 specific nitric oxide deficiencies present in all of these men. Before I reveal these 5 deficiencies that science discovered, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. Leave your like now. And don't forget to check out the pinned link here on the channel. That's where you'll discover what really changed everything in my health. Let's get straight to the point. Morning erection is not about libido. It's not about sexual desire. It's a vascular stress test that your body performs every night while you sleep. During REM sleep, your brain releases pulses of testosterone. These pulses activate the endothelial cells lining the blood vessels of the penis. And these cells, when healthy, produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the signaling molecule that relaxes the smooth muscle of the penile arteries. When these arteries relax, blood flows under pressure. The erectile tissue expands. And you wake up with an erection. Simple, mechanical, predictable. But when nitric oxide fails, this process stops. And the absence of morning erection doesn't mean you're getting old. It means your arteries are failing. The same arteries that feed your heart, your brain, your kidneys. Morning erection is the canary in the coal mine. When it disappears, you have a window of 3 to 5 years before major cardiovascular events. Heart attack, stroke, kidney failure. And the pharmaceutical industry knows this. That's why they created Viagra, Cialis, Levitra. Medications that force artificial vasodilation. But here's the problem. They treat the symptom, not the cause. You take the pill. The arteries dilate mechanically. You get the erection. But nitric oxide production remains failed. The endothelial cells remain damaged. And you become chemically dependent on a medication that costs $150 to $200 a month. Even worse, these medications can cause headaches, dizziness, vision problems, and in rare cases, priapism, an erection that won't go down and can cause permanent damage. Conventional medicine doesn't want you to know that there are 5 specific nutritional deficiencies that destroy your nitric oxide production. And that by correcting these 5 deficiencies, you can restore erectile function naturally. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I want to know how many men in the world are seeking this information that traditional medicine hides. And if you haven't seen it yet, check out the pinned link here on the channel. Let me explain the 5 deficiencies that Johns Hopkins researchers identified. Deficiency number 1. Substrate deficiency. Your body needs raw material to manufacture nitric oxide. This raw material comes from 2 places: the amino acid L-arginine, which you get from proteins, and dietary nitrates, which come from specific vegetables. The problem is that most men over 50 consume less than 100 milligrams of nitrates per day. The therapeutic dose is 300 to 500 milligrams. The solution? Beetroot. A study from the University of Exeter, published in 2021, tested 300 grams of beetroot per day in 140 men between 50 and 65 years old. The study was double-blind, randomized, lasted 12 weeks. Result: 74% of men recovered consistent morning erections. And we're not talking about slight improvement. We're talking about full erections maintained for more than 30 minutes. Beetroot is rich in potassium nitrate. When you consume it, specific bacteria on your tongue convert this nitrate into nitrite. The nitrite goes down to the stomach, is absorbed, and in endothelial cells, is converted into nitric oxide. 300 grams of raw or cooked beetroot. Preferably in the morning, on an empty stomach, or before exercise. It can be in juice, grated in salad, or roasted in the oven. Deficiency number 2. Cofactor deficiency. Even if you have substrate, your body needs auxiliary molecules to convert L-arginine into nitric oxide. The main one is tetrahydrobiopterin, known as BH4. And to maintain adequate BH4 levels, you need vitamin C. But here's the problem. Men over 50 generally have vitamin C levels below 40 micromoles per liter. The ideal is above 70. The solution? Pomegranate. A study from UCLA Medical Center, published in 2020, tested 250 milliliters of pure pomegranate juice per day in 96 men between 48 and 62 years old. After 8 weeks, Nitric oxide bioavailability increased 58%. But most impressive, BH4 levels rose 42%. Pomegranate is exceptionally rich in polyphenol called punicalagins. These molecules protect vitamin C from oxidation. And at the same time they stimulate the enzyme that regenerates BH4. 250 milliliters of pure juice, no added sugar. Or one whole pomegranate. Preferably in the afternoon, away from main meals. Deficiency number 3, excess arginase. Here's something nobody tells you. There's an enzyme in your body called arginase. It competes directly with the enzyme that produces nitric oxide. Both want the same raw material, L-arginine. When arginase is elevated, it diverts L-arginine to produce ornithine and urea. And less substrate is left to produce nitric oxide. And you know what elevates arginase? Chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, oxidative stress. The solution? Aged garlic. Fresh garlic has allicin. But when you age garlic for 21 days, allicin converts into stable sulfur compounds called S-allylcysteine and S-allylmercaptocystine. These compounds inhibit arginase by up to 35%. In vitro studies from the University of Tokyo showed this in 2019. 2 to 3 cloves of aged garlic per day. You can make it at home. Peel the cloves, put them in a dark glass jar, leave at room temperature for 3 weeks. Then consume with meals. Deficiency number 4, oxidative stress. Nitric oxide is an extremely unstable molecule. Its half-life in the blood is only 5 seconds. That means half of the nitric oxide you produce disappears in 5 seconds. And you know what accelerates this degradation? Free radicals. Especially the superoxide radical. When superoxide meets nitric oxide, they react instantly forming peroxynitrite. This molecule is not only useless for vasodilation, but also damages endothelial cells. The solution? Spinach. Spinach is the most concentrated source of plant coenzyme Q10. CoQ10 is an antioxidant that neutralizes superoxide before it destroys nitric oxide. Additionally, spinach also contains nitrates. So you correct 2 deficiencies simultaneously. 150 grams per day. Can be raw in salads or lightly sautéed. Never boil because nitrates are water-soluble and you lose them in boiling. Deficiency number 5, endothelial dysfunction. This is the most serious. Your endothelial cells are literally sick. They've lost the ability to respond to testosterone signals and produce nitric oxide. This happens through advanced glycation, accumulation of oxidized LDL, and cell membrane rigidity. The solution? Pure cocoa. Cocoa contains specific flavonoids called epicatechins. These molecules enter endothelial cells and reactivate the enzyme endothelial nitric oxide synthase enos. A German study from 2023 tested 20 grams of 70% cocoa in 80 type 2 diabetic men between 52 and 64 years old. After 16 weeks, endothelial function measured by FMD flow-mediated dilation improved 63%. 20 to 30 grams of cocoa with at least 70% cocoa solids. Preferably at night, because flavonoids are better absorbed with fats from the last meal. Now let me tell you about the case of Mr. Roberto. 53 years old. Executive. Sedentary. Blood pressure at 140/90 borderline for hypertension. And for 2 years total loss of morning erection. He arrived at the office with a Cialis prescription in hand. The previous doctor had prescribed 5 milligrams per day, continuous use. But before accepting this chemical dependency he wanted to investigate. We ordered a complete panel, penile Doppler with vasodilators, total and free testosterone, serum nitric oxide measured by nitrite and nitrate metabolites, and ADMA asymmetric dimethylarginine, which is an endogenous nitric oxide inhibitor. The results were revealing. Normal testosterone, 520 nanograms per deciliter. But nitric oxide was at 12 micromoles per liter. Normal is above 30. And ADMA was elevated, 1.2 micromoles per liter. Normal is below 0.7. Diagnosis: severe substrate and cofactor deficiency. The protocol was simple. 300 grams of beetroot in the morning in juice. 250 milliliters of pomegranate juice in the afternoon. And 3 grams of vitamin C distributed throughout the day. In 6 weeks, morning erections returned. First week, lasting 5 to 10 minutes. Then full, maintained for 30 to 40 minutes. We repeated the test. Nitric oxide rose to 34 micromoles per liter. ADMA dropped to 0.8. And blood pressure stabilized at 125/80. He never needed the Cialis. Another case, Mr. Marcello. 58 years old. Type 2 diabetes controlled with metformin. Weak and inconsistent morning erections. His profile was different. Low testosterone, 310 nanograms per deciliter. But the main problem was massive oxidative stress. Glycated hemoglobin at 7.1%, above ideal. And elevated inflammatory markers. Protocol: 250 milliliters of pomegranate juice. 150 grams of spinach. 20 grams of 70% cocoa. And 2 cloves of aged garlic. In 3 months, 80% improvement. Morning erections 4 to 5 times a week. Glycated hemoglobin dropped to 6.3%. And testosterone naturally rose to 420 nanograms per deciliter. The key is understanding which of the 5 deficiencies you have. And adjusting the protocol accordingly. If you have high blood pressure, focus on beetroot and pomegranate. If you have diabetes or insulin resistance, add cocoa and spinach. If you have chronic inflammation, aged garlic is essential. And here's the 3-phase protocol I recommend. Phase 1: first 4 weeks. Beetroot 300 grams in the morning. Pomegranate juice 250 milliliters in the afternoon. Establish the substrate and cofactor base. Phase 2: weeks 5 to 12. Add spinach 150 grams at lunch. Cocoa 20 grams at night. Combat oxidative stress and reactivate endothelial cells. Phase 3: continuous maintenance. All 5 foods in rotation. Aged garlic 2 cloves per day. Monitor morning erections. Adjust dosages according to response. Synergy is fundamental. It's no use just taking beetroot if your endothelial cells are destroyed by oxidative stress. It's no use just taking pomegranate if you have excess arginase diverting L-arginine. You need to attack all 5 deficiencies simultaneously. Now, a critical point I need to make clear. If you have established cardiovascular disease, history of heart attack, angina, stents, bypass surgery, consult your cardiologist before starting this protocol. Because when you restore nitric oxide production, blood pressure can drop. And if you already take antihypertensive medications, you may need to adjust doses. Similarly, if you use anticoagulants, garlic can potentiate the effect. So monitor with your doctor. But for most men over 50 without serious established disease, this protocol is safe and highly effective. Recapping the 5 nitric oxide deficiencies that destroy your morning erection. Deficiency 1. Substrate deficiency. Solution: beetroot 300 grams. Deficiency 2. Cofactor deficiency. Solution: pomegranate 250 milliliters. Deficiency 3. Excess arginase. Solution: aged garlic 2 to 3 cloves. Deficiency 4. Oxidative stress. Solution: spinach 150 grams. Deficiency 5. Endothelial dysfunction. Solution: pure cocoa 20 grams. If this information made sense to you, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. Leave your like. Every week I bring new scientific studies about men's health that actually work. And remember, morning erection is not about sex. It's about survival. It's your body warning you that your arteries are failing. When you recover morning erections, you're not just improving your sex life. You're adding years of healthy life. Preventing heart attacks. Preventing strokes. Maintaining your physical and mental independence. See you in the next video.